Cardanos Comfort, Book 2, on Sorrow, Loss, and the Fear of Death. In the first book, we spoke of misfortune in general, on how suffering arises and how the mind gives it weight. Now we turn to sorrow, in more particular and more piercing, grief, especially grief for the loss of those we love. There is no pain more familiar, and none more difficult to resist. For when we grieve, we do not merely suffer an event, we suffer memory, attachment, and expectation disappointed. Let us begin by saying this plainly. Sorrow is natural. It is not a fault to feel it. It is not a weakness to weep. Even the wise are struck by loss. But there is a difference between sorrow that passes and sorrow that rules. Many believe grief is owed, and that pain or a debt paid to the dead. But the dead are not enriched by our tears, nor are the living strengthened by endless mourning. Nature requires affection, it does not require despair. Consider how often we mistake love for anguish. We say, if I grieve deeply, it proves how greatly I loved, but love does not demand destruction. If affection were measured by misery, then those most undone by loss would be the most loving, which we know is not true. Love is shown best not by how bitterly we suffer, but by how faithfully we live afterward. And when someone dear to us dies, we often cry out, "This should not have happened." But death is not an interruption. It is a condition of life. From the moment we were born, we move toward it. If you are surprised by death, it is not because death is sudden, but because you refuse to remember it. We do not mourn because death is unjust. We mourn because we imagined ourselves exempt. All who are born are sentenced to mortality, and all who love enter into a contract with loss. This is not cruelty, it is proportion. You say they were taken too soon. But what measure do you use? Years? Strength? Plans? Nature does not bargain in expectations. Some lives are long, some brief. Neither length nor shortness proves meaning. If a guest leaves early, we do not curse the feast. We are grateful that they came at all. So too with those we love. Their life was not stolen from us. It was lent. And when what is lent is returned, we have no grounds for accusation, only remembrance. There are those who say, "I cannot be comforted." But often what they mean is, "I will not release my grief, because it is all I have left." Yet sorrow, clung too tightly, turns from love to injury, not to the dead, but to the living. Consider this carefully. If the one you mourn could speak to you now, would they wish you broken? Would they ask you to surrender your days to their absence? Or would they ask you that you live well for both of you? No love worthy of the name demands ruin as proof. There is also this to be said. We often grieve not only the dead, but the future we imagined with them. We mourn conversations unfinished, comforts expected, roles unfulfilled. But these belong to hope, not to the person who is gone. Do not punish the dead for the disappointment of your expectations. And what of death itself? Why does it terrify us so? Not because it is painful, for often it is not. Not because it is unjust, for it spares no one. But because it is unknown. Yet we fear many unknowns and still endure them. Sleep is unknown. Birth is unknown. Even the next hour is hidden from us. Death differs only in that it ends the questioning. If the soul endures, then death is a passage. If it does not, then death is a release. In neither case is it to be feared as torment. Those who fear death most intensely are often those least at peace in life. For a quiet conscience meets death quietly. It is not death that wounds us. It is attachment without proportion. We suffer because we wish what cannot be reversed. But wisdom does not dwell in wishing. It dwells in acceptance. Time will soften sorrow. It always does. What time accomplishes slowly, reason can begin at once, not by denying pain, but by placing it where it belongs. You did not lose everything when you lost one person. You lost someone, not yourself. And if sorrow teaches you to love more gently, to live more attentively, to hold less tightly, then even grief has not come in vain. Therefore grieve, but do not drown. Remember, but do not cling. Love, but do not destroy yourself in the name of love. For life continues and asks something of you still. End of Book 2. Cardanos Comfort, Book 3. On torment, bondage, exile, poverty, and the weight of many miseries. We come now to those sufferings which men fear most, and name most cruel. Torment, imprisonment, bondage, exile, poverty, and the gathering of many miseries at once. These are the afflictions from which few people believe escape is possible. And yet, even here, the mind retains its power. Let us begin with this truth. No condition, however harsh, has ever stripped a person of the freedom to judge it. Pain assaults the body, it does not command the will. Torment is terrible, but it is brief. Or if it is long, it dulls itself. Pain either ends or it changes. The body cries out, the mind need not surrender. Those who endure torment bravely often suffer less than those who imagined it beforehand. For anticipation magnifies pain, while presence confines it. Fear hurts longer than pain. And there is this to remember: no torment touches virtue. No rack can stretch integrity. No flame can burn innocence. No prison can confine judgment. Bondage restrains the body. It does not enslave the mind unless the mind consents. Many have lived freely in chains. Many have lived imprisoned in palaces. Ask yourself, who is more captive, the one locked behind walls, or the one ruled by fear, envy, and appetite? Imprisonment removes distractions. It strips away pretense. It returns a person to themselves. For some, it becomes the first honest conversation they have had with their own mind. Do not mistake solitude for abandonment. Many discover strength there that they never knew they possessed. Exile wounds pride more than it wounds life. For what is exile truly? A change of place, a change of language, a change of habit. But the sky is the same. The sun rises the same. Reason travels with you. No one is exiled from themselves. Those who suffer most in exile are those who believe that their worth belonged to a single place. But wisdom is not local. Virtue requires no homeland. The world is wide. The mind is wider. Poverty frightens us because we confuse comfort with necessity. But nature asks for very little. It is a habit that demands excess. Hunger is satisfied with food, cold with shelter, fatigue with rest. Beyond this, want is mostly imagined. Many who possess little fear less, envy less, and sleep more soundly than those surrounded by abundance. Poverty removes the burden of display. It frees a person from guarding possessions, from pleasing expectations, from competing for appearances. What poverty takes from the hand is often returned to the mind. The greatest terror comes when misfortunes arrive together. Loss upon loss, pain upon pain, and no pause between. But even here, reason stands. Suffering does not add itself. The body feels one pain at a time, the mind imagines many. It is thought, not circumstance, that multiplies misery. But when many troubles press at once, do not attempt to bear them all together. Bear only the one that stands before you now. The rest are shadows. There's no disgrace in being struck by misfortune. The disgrace lies only in being ruled by it. History remembers not those who avoided hardship, but those who met it without surrender. Remember this. Misfortune tests nothing except what is already there. If a person is shallow, hardship reveals it. If a person is steady, hardship proves it. If what follows sounds severe, it is not because suffering is dismissed, but because endurance requires clarity. These words are not meant to harden the heart, but to steady it. You are not your condition. You are not your losses. You are not your pain. You are your judgment. You are your response. You are your mind. Everything else, fortune, body, place, time, belongs to change. Therefore, endure. Not because suffering is good, but because the mind is greater. Not because fortune is kind, but because virtue is sufficient. And when weight is heaviest, remember, nothing that can be taken from you was ever truly you. End of Book 3. End of Cardano's Comfort. A closing note of thanks. Before we part, we offer thanks to those whose minds and labors made these words possible. To Gerolamo Cardano, who wrote not to flatter sorrow but to steady it. To Thomas Bedingfield, whose work carried this across language and time. And to Edward de Vere, Earl of Oxford, and Thomas Churchyard, who ensured that thought did not remain locked in silence but was shared, defended, and set before the public. We are their inheritors. If these words have offered clarity, courage, or calm, the gratitude belongs to them and to all who, across centuries, have chosen understanding over despair. May these words remain with you when steadiness is needed.